What's up, everybody? Another day, another dollar. I'm just leaving the store. Went to pick up some smoothies and cake. Left work at 5, so you already know we just headed home. But fact of the matter is, today I'm here to speak to y'all about a question I've been getting a lot of emails about. And that question is, why is letting go the final act of love? And I know it might seem a little complicated, a little too deep to really pinpoint, but we can just break it down if we think about what's a fundamental aspect about what love is. And that aspect is that love is free. And what I mean by that is, for example, there's nothing, no institution, no law, no person could ever do to inhibit the spread or nurturing of love within a community, within a partnership, within yourself and your identity. There is nothing anybody could do to ever dispose of that. And that's because love is free. And so that begs the question, does that mean love is not selfish? Of course, love is not selfish. You know, in the way that we possess objects, people are not objects. We're entire souls with their own story, background, history. So much beauty inherently within us that we are these beams of light in which exist not to be possessed, but to be free. And so let's keep going further on that point, letting go. Why is it that we must let go of things? And I'll tell you why. It's because we need to grow. Let me put it into perspective. When we were little, learning how to ride a bike, for example, we had the training wheels, or maybe when you tried to get rid of the training wheels, you had a parent or like an older figure hold the bike for you so you could practice pedaling without, the training wheels. But at some point, that figure had to let go of you while you were on that bike. And so what would have happened had they never done that? Would you have been able to explore the wild expanse of the world on a new device such as the bike, see far and wide here and there? Or would it have been limiting if they only let you go as far as, let's say, the driveway, just holding on to you that whole time? Clearly that's a level of care. It's a level of trust. It's a level of commitment to be there and hold that person hold you when you're on that bike. But you see how much potential was able to be grasped once they let go. And so that is why love should always be free, because that is how people can grow. Another thing is that this is something that's been weighing heavy on my heart. It's I've lost a couple of people, some people that have passed away, and it's to be honest, it never gets better. You never stop missing them. You never stop thinking about them, wishing they were here. And it's like, it's understandable when people decide to cope with insane methods of release, whether it's narcotics or drinking. It's understandable, anything to get a peace of mind, because that's not easy to come by these days. But something that I remember, I was at this one funeral of someone dear to me that passed away, and they were telling us how, look at this community of people from far and wide that this individual, though his life may have been short-lived, was able to bring together. Because there's been funerals that priest has hosted in which there was only one person, which was the person who requested for the funeral to be made, and himself, for that one person. But this special human being, oh my God, the love that he gave to everybody that he came across was such a beautiful soul. brought so many people, young and old, friends from far and wide, to come visit him on his funeral. And something, again, that the priest was saying is that it is a pain. It is a pain to not have him with us anymore. It is a shame because of what a beautiful life he could have lived. But we must do right by him and continue moving forward. But how could we? That was my bro. That was someone so meaningful to me. Like I can't go on. But if they were looking down at us, I guarantee you they would want us to keep going. Because wouldn't it bring them joy to see us prospering and doing well despite their absence in our lives? And there's nothing left for me to do to show him my love, to show that one special person who passed away my love, aside from taking that love he gave me and giving it to the world as best as I can. Never letting those bits of light that he shared with me and continuing to pass it on. Because what if I held on too much to continue doing anything? What would that love he gave me, or what good would it have been for me to not continue passing it forward to everyone that I could meet? And so that was a hard pill to swallow, you know, but it made me feel better thinking about how happy he would be to know we would be okay. And that is why the only thing I could do for them was not to keep all this pain, prevent me from moving forward, trying anything left. No, it's to take that, let it go, continue on with that love that he gave to me. It's heavy, you know. Like I've been in a couple relationships, and you know, mistakes were made. I made mistakes. Sometimes the other person made mistakes. Sometimes things just didn't work out. Sometimes it just wasn't the right timing. Like I had one relationship that ended during the pandemic. It's like, bro, it's like right when I got in a partnership that like that whole thing happened. So we never saw each other. Just things ended quietly. Like, bro, you know. So things like that happen. But this is something I learned recently because I always had a hard time moving on because I had these notions about how love was self-sacrificial and it was overly giving, and it was like just doing so much to the point where it's like you're at your limit for that person. But it was exhausting. It was exhausting being overly dependent, trying to be doing as much as I can for that person, and sometimes I didn't always get it back. I remember this one partnership I had, I was doing the most in every way possible, communicating and all this other stuff, but the other person just didn't want to match it. And that's okay, because everyone is entitled to do as they wish, right? But I remember thinking about it before I ended that specific relationship, how it didn't feel fair, and it felt like I wasn't really given the appreciation that I felt I deserved at the time. And rather than holding on to them with bitter pieces of resentment kind of manifesting within the relationship, it was better to just let it be, because I love that person deeply, but I know that there is better things to do with a situation like that. And if my spirit was meant to continue showing that love that I was thinking about for that person, I can just only let them be who they wish, even if that does not include me. And even if we're never to cross paths again, it's just that acceptance and willingness to let them be free despite what we had that's a doozy. It's not easy, and I think we all have our different methods of processing how to love one another. But it's for sure that it's for certain that love is always meant to be free. Love is more than just being self-sacrificial and overly giving. It must be appreciated and kind, and that happens whether or not it is coming from you. And sometimes we have to let go of things in order for them to grow. Because you can imagine, let's say, out of all the relationships I've had, I feel that if I stayed longer in any of them, I don't think I would be who I am today. I grew from a lot of those mistakes, and I'm still making mistakes. My last relationship, that one, I could have done so much better in a lot of ways, but I didn't realize that because I was still recovering from the last one. I didn't give myself enough time to really improve on what I was doing wrong. And so I think had I stayed in that last one, I would have continued making mistakes. And I was thinking to myself, that's not fair, that's not fair to the other person. Obviously, we can continue improving and making adjustments, but I think being there and selfishly holding on despite the errors that I was not improving on, I didn't think that was fair either. I felt like I was in a role switched from my past relationships. And it was hard. It was hard. It's never easy letting go of things. It's gonna always feel like a tough choice to make because it's supposed to be. It's not something so simple always. But I think that's why love requires that level of trust and honoring that simply possessing selfishly is never going to achieve. The last person I was with, I loved them so deeply, and it made me happy for them to be happy. But I felt deep down, as time went on, things wouldn't always be that way. And I've seen relationships where it's like they keep going until the wax is dried, until the fire is gone, until there's no more of the same joy that it once brought. And it's sad. It's sad sometimes seeing those kind of partnerships because it's like if two people are not happy with one another, they should not continue that. But again, it's not easy to let go. And I don't blame them when I see those specific kind of couples in the world. It's hard. Codependency is a drug that is not easy to recover from. But to truly love someone wholly in and out, it's gonna require a lot, and sometimes it requires, again, that letting go. I think that regardless of the kinds of things you might feel about somebody, whether it's that someone you had a breakup with, someone you lost that went to the afterlife, it is important that you allow yourself and that other person to continue growing. Because there comes times in relationships where growth is ceasing because mistakes are getting made, improvements aren't happening. There's lots of limitations going on, and sometimes again it's healthier to cut things off before it gets worse. I hope that to those that are stuck in something they feel is not supposed to be for them, but they cannot leave, that they may find the strength to do what they must at some point. And to those who have something special, something they cherish, that they continue loving that person in a way we all deserve, and that it may remain if it is meant to be. It's been hard. It's been hard, the breakups I've had over the years. But again, I think with the changes that had to have been made, I'm becoming a person I know I'm going to love very deeply by the end of my days. And I am excited for all those around me to see that person.